So back to my conversation about pornography. Is this a big issue? Like, is this something that deserves more attention than it's getting, in your view? Any of you feel free to jump in.
If I may jump in first, I think pornography, talking about some form of sex addiction, yeah. What is addiction? Addiction is something that happens that you keep doing unconsciously, willing or unwillingly, as much as it may have negative impacts, but you can't refrain yourself from doing it as much as you want to until you get help. So when you talk about addiction and sex, when is it a problem? When is it a red flag? I would view it as a red flag when you start feeling embarrassed and guilty about it, because everybody has set their own form of acceptable terms. Like when it gets to a point where you're starting to feel embarrassed about the activity, or you start feeling guilty about it, covering it up with lies and just trying to get away from it, that's when you know it's a problem.
Right. Washington, do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I agree with what Matt is saying, because you have the societal standards, and you have everybody has we have our own set of standards of values. So I guess the key thing is trying to kind of merge those two, and find a compromise, something that is it's gonna give me peace, or it's gonna give you peace. And again, we really have to be careful, because people have different things. People have different things that they like, and porn might be one of them, but if it's not a problem, if I'm not spending way too much money, on trying to pay to watch porn or whatever, if it's not stopping me from meeting my obligations that I have, then it's kind of the same thing with people who play video games. So
Right,
I mean, if
right.
you don't have, so if the consequences, if you don't have so many negative consequences from watching porn or playing video games,
Right.
and if you talk about, this is something we also discuss with our clients,
Right.
you're doing your 90-day challenge now, not drinking.
I just finished it, FYI.
In one of the places that one of the rehabs that I used to work, it was a co-ed facility.
Right.
And within that time, because sex can be a distraction thing too, because I'm going to distract myself with this person so that I don't really delve deep into what's going on. So sometimes you have all these things, be it porn, be it other forms of addiction or video games or whatever. It becomes a distraction thing. I have too much going on. I need something to, something to distract myself.
Right.
So
Yeah,
Go ahead, Matt, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to jump in and say, from an African context, one of the examples I like to give our people when I'm guiding them about addiction is, we all know that our moms love like having tea like in a thermos flask or hot water in the evening, and they can't leave the house without it. They can't go to sleep without it. They can't.
Right.
They're constantly mad at their family when they can't find that flask or when that flask is broken. Yeah.
Right.
So that is an example of a negative effect of addiction,
Right.
of even a good thing like tea or hot water or warm water. Yeah.
Right.
Like, that's a good thing, but see, it could bring about negative consequences. And that's when you start to notice that something is going off. So I guess those are some of the red flags which we all should be aware about, when to know when a habit is becoming too much.
Yeah, and then back to back to the porn subject, because so
Right.
if I'm in a intimate relationship, and I tend not to, pay attention to the person that I'm with,
Right.
because I have another outlet. So it's gonna cause problems in that relationship already.
Right.
Because most people sometimes they tend to neglect whoever they're intimate with. But they rather spend their time watching porn. So that's also a negative consequence or something that
Because maybe because it's a quick rub out and you get your nuts and you can move on without. Yeah, I can
so
see how that can be a problem. Go proceed.
yeah, there's the fear of, but it's a deeper problem because if I'm afraid of being intimate with someone, like over if I'm watching porn on my phone or watching porn on my laptop, there's that emotional connection is not there. So some people are afraid of getting attached.
Right.
And like I don't think you cannot have a healthy relationship without a healthy attachment. So if I'm afraid to have a healthy attachment with another human being, I'd rather have a healthy and a form of attachment with somebody that I'm seeing on the tube or whatever, and I'm quick to, if I don't want to talk, I don't have to talk to them.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
So that's another thing too. I don't have to hear their mouth. I don't have to deal. I don't have to, like after, if you're having sex after you're done with your partner,
Right.
it's common for you to stay there, talk, and but if
it's like switch on computer, switch off computer, bye bye until I need you next time.
Until I need you.
It's interesting because Pornhub during this, once the lockdown, the international lockdown happened, actually made access to some of the videos, which are usually premier services, free. So that people can, have some sort of comfort during this lockdown when people are spending a lot of time in their houses.